What's up, folks? This is Crypto with James talking to you today about the crypto news. We saw the FOMC meeting yesterday. There's been a few bits and bobs that have been interesting, and particularly around, obviously, Celsius at the moment. Before I get into that update, the spreadsheet, the first 26 coins I spoke about on the channel, had you invested $100 into each of these when I released videos about them and you were still holding that crypto, you can profit for around 8.5 grand. This is after multiple retracements in the bear cycle. At one point, this was over 100K, this spreadsheet, and this is what should remind people to take profits during a bull cycle. But the bear cycle is here and it's the best time to invest. I've shown it on every financial market going. And while I do believe we can dive deeper, there are opportunities in this market. If you want to see the coins that I'm buying and selling and the coins that I'm actually buying up during the bear cycle, then you can come check out Copy My Cryptos, where I share the coins I'm buying, coins I'm selling, and those coins that I believe can 20x, 40x, 50x, 100x in from now till the following bull cycle. All you have to do is click the link in the description and check it out, guys. Okay, where do we start? Let's start with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin climbed to about 22.5K after the Fed announced a 75 basis point hike, which we all knew was coming. We've been talking about it for ages. Well, we've been talking about it for the last few days. We knew, everyone knew it was going to happen. So this is the largest increase in 28 years. Data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView shows that Bitcoin and the wider cryptocurrency market fell under pressure in the early trading hours on June 15th, as rumors of the possible collapse of 3 Arrows Capital spread across the ecosystem, which I'm going to talk about soon, along with obviously the Celsius debacle. However, following the Jerome Powell's press conference or during, we saw Bitcoin briefly spike up to about 22.5K before pulling back to around 21.5. But the minute by minutes were very, very interesting. It showed how people felt about the decision making that was happening. Traditional markets also responded positively, with many of them ending on a green day. Well, all of them ending on a green day. So Jerome Powell was asked about, is it worth inducing a recession in order to protect the future of the economy? He stated, look, no, we have no intention of inducing a recession, but a lot of this is out of our control. And he reiterated that point multiple times throughout this press conference, where it was, the Ukraine war, the Ukraine-Russia war, the lockdowns in China affecting supply chain issues, general overall supply chain issues around the world. And he was relentlessly pointing this out, to omit some semblance of responsibility to some degree. There's also truth to it, of course. But it appears that obviously that rate hike was priced into the market. So we'll see how things go. The minutes are going to be particularly interesting when that comes out, because there wasn't a fat lot of discussion with regards to tapering in the press conference. There's a couple questions, but nothing, in terms of quantitative easing, but nothing really too in depth. So I'd be interested to see what they discussed in the minutes. And I think the minutes will probably be far more significant in terms of moving prices in the market. So they'll, waiting to see what that is. Next, 3 Arrows. So look, 3 Arrows are a massive investment firm in the crypto space. They are looking in a very serious situation. They're a crypto fund in Dubai. They're facing possible insolvency after incurring about $400 million in liquidations. They're generally known as 3AC. And they were liquidated by crypto lending firms, and they're currently in the process of repaying lenders and other counterparties. The firm's founders have been two of the most vocal participants in the crypto market, making bets on NFTs and DeFi and Layer 1 tokens throughout the past few years. He actually, the founder Zhu, tweeted out about this situation, saying they're in the process of communicating with relevant parties and fully committed to working it out. The list of investments that they have range from Ethereum, Solana, and Luna, which are down obviously significantly since their all-time highs. And their troubles obviously come around the same point that the Celsius looks to be insolvent. The firm managed billions of dollars of users' funds, and they may not be able to possess the capital to pay out back investors on Celsius. And 3AC, it appears, is selling its existing crypto positions to lower collateral requirements for certain positions. One of 3AC's wallet has a debt totaling $183 million. They've not responded to comments about the article. Then we've got obviously the hell that is Celsius at the moment, and there's so much to look at there. Gary Gensler has jumped on the opportunity to sort of highlight that that the market needs to be regulated. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, he said, if you basically are using a crypto exchange, and many of the crypto lending platforms, they actually own your assets in some joint omnibus account on what's called the underlying blockchain. This is underlying accounting ledger you've maybe heard about. And then you see things like this weekend on Monday, where one crypto exchange and one crypto lending platform said you can't withdraw, not now. That happened in the middle of the meme stock circumstance as well, but there were protections on that fateful Friday in January of 2021. There were protections around customer segregation about the assets. You couldn't trade unless they were clearly your assets. Here in crypto exchanges and lending, we should be able to bring those same protections and make sure that those protections are there, but they aren't right now. There's a potential path forward on the crypto lending platforms. The crypto trading platforms also are sort of looking at that and saying, what do we do until those tokens themselves are registered? And so we have about 6 projects that we're working through, trying to get registered crypto markets. To get them registered, they have hundreds, if not many hundreds of potential securities on their platform, but also they've got an eye on how these tokens actually make disclosures to the public. And basically it was as always with Gary Gensler, it appears to be a grab to increase the power of the SEC. So we're going to see how that plays out, really. And Bitboy, shout out to Bitboy, is threatening a class action lawsuit against Celsius. So he tweeted out, our account rep told us we had enough money in our account to pay off a loan, but we can't use the money in our account. We have to send Celsius more money to pay it off. But then with the possibility of them obviously becoming insolvent, they may end up losing the money that's in their account anyway. And he pointed out, imagine an insolvent company that you can't withdraw your money from asking you to send them more money. He stated that it's currently working through the process of getting all disclosures, documents, loan details, etc. put together while speaking to attorneys to explore the best ways to go about the class action. Co-plaintiffs are yet to be added, as he's not officially begun moving yet. And yeah, this is it. The Celsius situation is pretty goddamn terrible right now. So if they end up declaring bankruptcy, there's going to be problems for anyone getting their money out. We'll see how that plays out. That's all we can do. But there are potential ways of dealing with it. So if you do have funds on Celsius, there are Joshua Browder, who's a lawyer, pointed out that there's a few things you can do. If it's less than 25k, you can potentially go to small claims court. So these exchanges have not yet filed for bankruptcy protection. The moment that they do, this avenue is removed for you. So to file a small claims lawsuit, the first step is to send a demand letter. The demand letter should say how much you're owed, why you think you're owed the money. For Celsius specifically, you should mail it, return receipt requested to. And then he continues this thread that is, to be honest, very, very good. And if you are in a situation where you've got funds on Celsius, this guy has laid out a plan of action that should ensure that you get your funds back. So he puts in the address. He says after 10 days, when they inevitably don't respond, you can file a small claims court lawsuit in your jurisdiction. He's also said that about a company that can handle the demand letter and filing. Not many lawyers will hate on me and say, now many lawyers will hate on me and say this, it's in their terms of service, they can freeze the funds, but if Celsius does not respond, you do win by default. They're so busy that they aren't going to send an executive to Denver as an example just for your case. So a judge will probably feel sorry for you based on the facts, even if they do show up. After you win, you can just go to any bank that they have funds in and collect your judgment and with a collection order. There is a way that people with certain funds, with certain levels of funds, can get their money back. It is worth, if you are living in America in particular, this is probably an avenue you want to explore. Protect yourself as much as you can, because the moment that Celsius filed for bankruptcy, and the probability is damn high at this point that they will, if that happens, then you're not going to be able to get any funds back. So if you've got anything less than 25k, do that, because you probably will be able to get your money back. And then as for that, that's about it. But be interested to see how the markets, stock markets and crypto reacts today after the FOMC conference yesterday. Right now, Bitcoin has been testing the 200-week moving average. Fundamentally, the key area for Bitcoin right now is 20k. That's clearly a psychological, line of support. When that gets breached, that's going to be fast and rapid, and that's probably going to see deeper dives in the market. But we may have a week, 2 weeks, a month before that happens. I actually don't. So what do you guys think in terms of Celsius? Because one other point that I actually heard, which was quite interesting, I can't remember who said it on Twitter, and if I find it, I'll share it in a video later. But someone suggested that this could be a sort of GameStop moment, where there are so many people right now shorting Celsius, so many like VCs that have been shorting Celsius, that if all retail did what they did with GameStop and bought up Celsius and pushed the price, could liquidate tons of VCs and feasibly enable Celsius to recover to some degree. It was just an interesting thread. So guys, what do you think of that? Do you think that's possible? Do you think we could see a GameStop sort of run on Celsius and liquidate a ton of VCs? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd be interested to hear what you think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you know when new content is coming out. And guys, if you want to see the coins that I'm buying up in the bear cycle, bought a couple this past week. I've got a couple buy orders in right now. And I have every intention of dollar cost averaging into a number of positions over the course of the next several months. So if you want to see what those coins are, those coins that I think can make them massive gains, all you have to do, guys, is click the link in the description and check it out. Take it easy. Bye-bye.